Hey guys, my name is Loveless and we are back with Quirk Knife. So this is gonna be chapter 27. I am like a day or two behind schedule, but better late than never, I guess. Hitoshi couldn't help but glare at All Might with his stupid smile and his stupid voice and his stupid face and his stupid everything. A scowl sat on his face as he opened his costume case for the first time. His eyes wandered to the note May wrote in her usual sloppy handwriting. I just had to make your costume, mainly because your ideas suck. But don't worry, luckily you have me as a friend, a genius friend. Turn to the back to see the instructions on any babies I add, and come see me for modifications. Love you. Hitoshi groaned audibly as he looked at the very bottom. P.S. I totally let our little bunny friend sketch it out, so you better like it or you'll make him cry. Or maybe they'll pull one of your ears off. Who knows? It's like Russian roulette with them. Accepting defeat, Hitoshi crumpled the note and tossed it into his locker, beginning to paw through whatever was waiting for him. The first item was a tight, long-sleeved turtleneck, one that would fit snugly to his body along with some compression leggings. Most likely Izuku's idea since he knows Hitoshi wants to work underground and it gets cold at night. Gotta conserve your body heat, he would say, which is totally hypocritical looking at Chaos's costume, but whatever. He set the soft fabric aside and pulled out a thick, deep purple jumpsuit. The sleeves went down to his elbows and the fabric was light. It wouldn't hinder his speed or movement. Next were some simple black shoes with some black thin gloves, but the palm of the gloves was thicker mainly to help with the injuries his capture weapon causes from overuse. Then a black utility belt that, of course, went around both his hips and two more on each upper thigh. No doubt done by Izuku. Little bitch. Finally, at the bottom of the case was a sleek matte black mask with all sorts of little gadgets to fidget with. Wearing a mask like Izuku's was difficult. It just reminded him how he was treated as a child, and he was hesitant of putting it on as he got dressed. But his concerns went right out the window as he applied it. It was soft and plush against his face, not too loose, but not too tight at once. The inside somehow smelled like lavender, and something told Hitoshi that Dobby must have chosen that specific scent. Whoa, you look dope, Sarah exclaimed with wide eyes, wearing his own black, white, and yellow costume. Thanks, I like yours too. He tried his best to compliment in return, his face flushed in slight embarrassment. As Sarah chuckled and began talking about something, Hitoshi's eyes slowly moved across the room when he felt a pair of eyes on him, making him feel uneasy. As he turned around completely, one gray and one ice blue eyes met his own, neither daring to look away first. It was Todoroki, of course, the kid who hasn't spoken a word and had a familiar cold expression. But was Hitoshi finding it familiar because he wore the same one or because someone else wore it? Dude, Kaminari whispered harshly, it's not polite to stare. In a bold voice, Hitoshi spoke up loud enough for everyone in the changing room to hear. He decided to stare first. I'm just returning the favor. Chatter ceased as both boys continued staring at one another, until Hitoshi took a slow, silent step towards him and stopped, letting a small grin stretch across his face once he removed his mask. Can I help you with something? He could have sworn Todoroki's numb expression cracked for just a moment, but fixed it before anyone could notice. His lips were kept tight, and Hitoshi hummed. Right, good chat. And slipped past, exiting out of the door as Sero and Kaminari jogged after him with wide eyes. You know, Sarah mumbled, for such a chill and quiet guy, you got some attitude. What's that supposed to mean? Both of his friends raised their hands next to their heads in surrender. Hey, never said it was a bad thing. Hitoshi was feeling irritated. He was sick and tired of people staring at him, whether it was caused by his quirk, his tired eyes, his unruly hair, or tiny scars decorating the underside of his cheekbone. He was sick of it. Just like Izuku said, he wasn't going to take it anymore. That's two people, Kaminari counted on his fingers, that you've called out. Two of the scariest people in class, too. I knew I wanted to be on your good side for a reason. I have been told I have bright instincts. Cyril hid a smile in the crook of his elbow. Kami, you're telling me that those ever-sharp instincts this morning told you to jump in a puddle? Not knowing how deep it was, may I add, and soaking your shoes, socks, and pants? Kaminari stood with a serious face. Yes, my dear friend. Jumping into puddles was a business. You know it's like law to jump in every puddle you see. Sero blinked and looked at Hitoshi for help, who shrugged in return, keeping his eyes trained forward, letting his mind work on autopilot. Stupid All Might explaining their training for the day, which honestly just sounded boring and basic. At least Izuku knows how to make fun activities for training. Now, All Might practically shouted, one by one, you'll come and select your badges for your partner. Hitoshi decided to hang back, watching as his students slowly paired up, some happier than others. Fuck you, Bakugo roared as Kirishima tossed an arm around his shoulder, babbling on about how they were going to make the best team and win. Young Shinso, you're last, All Might said, waving him up. Young Shinso? Don't call me that. He snapped before he could stop himself, reaching into the box and pulling out his piece far too aggressively, maintaining eye contact with the number one pro hero the entire time. Damn, intense, he heard someone whisper behind him, most likely Ashido or Jiro, before turning slowly and looking down at the letter. Team D. Hitoshi looked up to locate the rogue student, only to notice that there was only one single person standing alone. Of course, it had to be Todoroki. Toya? Dawi's head snapped around in panic, forgetting for a moment the request he made yesterday. Fuck, he whispered. What? Izuku was standing there with a wet cloth pressed to his eye where he gotten cut last night on patrol. Sorry about yesterday. Yeah? Dabi sighed. It was kinda embarrassing. You can't have many tantrums in public like a toddler, Uzu. The greenette opened his mouth to argue in return for a moment, but decided to keep quiet and look back down at his feet. He was clearly in thought, so Dabi waited patiently, shaking his hair out. He considered re-dyeing it again, but Izuku told him the white suited him and it saved him some money. Is there something wrong with me? Dabi faltered once more, looking at the small boy buried in his blankets, eyes large in confusion and thought. What? The man whispered. Toga looked up from her deck of cards. She was shuffling, looking back and forth between the two boys, with no one spoke for quite some time. Izuku clutched his hair into two fists, hands shaking ever so slightly, as he responded in a quiet voice. I don't know. Everything's so loud and so annoying, and I'm so tired and... Izuku, what's loud? Dabi interrupted, growing in confusion. Did he mean while they were on patrol? It was rarely that loud at night. Izuku just pressed one of his fingers against his forehead, the other hand waving randomly, green eyes screwed shut. Well, Dabi thought that can't be good. Luckily, Toga was willing to press further. Do you mean, like, voices? Izuku shook his head. No, nothing like that. It just... I feel like I'm always thinking, and I don't want to anymore. Of course, months ago I would have. Never mind. Now Dobby was even more suspicious, but wasn't sure how to answer. He never been one to support the mentally damaged. He was always the mentally damaged one being supported. He said stupidly, I don't think that means something's wrong with you. It just, you have a lot on your mind. Fucking obviously. Obviously, Tugger repeated, nodding in support. Dobby walked over and crouched down, palming Izuku's head to force him to pick up his eyes as he continued. When I find a job, okay, I'll make some money, my own money, so I can buy us 3 a proper apartment and get you guys the help that you need, okay? I just need more time. I need more... Fuck. Look, I can do it so you guys can be kids for a little longer. Izuku was staring at Dobby like he had hung the stars and the moon, lips parted in nothing but awe. Why? He croaked. Why do you care about us and me so much? I don't understand. Dobby licked one of his staples seated at the corner of his mouth and cursed under his breath. Because I do, alright? There's no reason. I just do. Is it because you love us? Toga teased, skipping over and draping herself over Dobby's neck, much to his annoyance. Fuck no, he mumbled. But the silence was broken as a wet giggle escaped Izuku, the boy wiping his tears with the back of his hand. Sorry. It's fine. Dobby reassured. Like I said, you're a kid. You're gonna be fucking sad and shit sometimes. Don't think you can't cry or whatever. Izuku hummed. Well, you know, you're still kind of a kid too. That means you should cry. Young adult, he corrected. And I don't have anything to cry about yet. The brunette raised a skeptical eyebrow. Are you sure? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't sure. But it wasn't something he wanted to think about. Go back to sleep. I swear you run off of 2 hours of sleep a night. Izuku curled in on himself with a smirk. It would help if I could get my hands on some cocaine. No. Todoroki and Hitoshi both stared at each other with blank expressions outside the building. Ashido and Aoyama setting up inside. Todoroki finally opened his mouth as the buzzer started. Just stay out there. I don't need your help. The dual-haired boy only got 4 steps until Hitoshi sent out his capture weapon, wrapping it around his waist and yanking him back. Oh, get off your fucking high horse, your highness. What's your plan? It doesn't involve shit. You. It doesn't involve shit. You, Todoroki panted, currently trying to free himself from the fabric around him. Hitoshi just watched him with an amused expression. Right. If you tell me, I'll let you go. Todoroki stopped and looked up with a skeptical look. Fine. I plan on freezing the entire building, including our opponents. Then I can just walk through and touch the bomb. Hitoshi nodded with thin eyes. Good. Stupid plan. Pardon me? I get that it's just a training exercise, but would you do that in a real situation? Todoroki's eyebrows were pinched together. Yes, that's why I was going to. Wrong. You're dumber than you look. What if there were civilians still trapped in there? Other heroes trying to work? Todoroki's jaw snapped shut and his expression grew angry. Well, this isn't real. You should train every day like it's a real battlefield. Hitoshi interrupted with a serious tone. That's what my friend always tells me, and he's right. Let's make a plan and capture the bomb, okay? My quirk specializes in situations like these. Ones where destructive quirks will make things worse. His scarf returned to the perch on his shoulders, and he looked at the building. They'll expect us to go through the front door since neither of our quirks allow free ascent, But that also means they'll probably didn't take my support item into account. I can get us onto the roof if you wish. Todoroki paused. You go onto the roof. I'll start here. That way, they'll either have to split up or let one of us go free. Hitoshi nodded, and before he could continue his plan, Todoroki took off running and left him behind. The purple-haired boy huffed in anger and getting to work, using his scarf to scale the wall, avoiding the windows not to be seen. The building was easy enough to see in considering all the windows, and Hitoshi was grateful for the sound-absorbent soles of his shoes. He snuck through the halls, his mask completely silent, his breathing as he rounded the corner, only to run straight into Aoyama. A laser beam shot at him. Hitoshi narrowly dodged and rolled into a crouch. Aoyama? Where's the bomb? The boy shook his head with a hand over his mouth. That was the problem with Hitoshi's quirk. When someone knew what it was, it could be easily avoidable. A year ago, this would have been a huge problem, but now Hitoshi found himself arguing with some of the most stubborn people to exist on a daily basis, so he still had a chance. Aw, come on, he sang, jumping over another beam and wrapping his scarf around the pipe on the wall, suspending himself in the air. I thought you were quite the chatter. Aoyama stepped back as Hitoshi took a swing with his scarf, not exactly trying to catch his opponent. Not yet, at least. Do you like my costume? Hitoshi continued, leaping to the other wall as Aoyama's laser scorched the place where he had been perched on. He kept going with the one-sided conversation. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Actually, a lot of my classmates got really cool costumes. Even you. Aoyama was visibly growing confused with all the chatter, and the lack of combat, still not answering. But actually, I heard someone say something. I think it was Kaminari. He said your costume was ugly. He did not? Aoyama gasped, his navel laser stopping as Hitoshi nodded in confidence. Something about too many sparkles? Do you want to hear what he said? Yes, tell me. Finally. A little patience always goes a long way. What floor is the bomb placed on? Without hesitation, Hitoshi was given an answer. Floor 4, Monomi. And wrap yourself in your own capture tape. The blonde did as told without any expression, the tape going all around his torso. Perhaps Hitoshi could have gotten Aoyama to fight his own teammate, but that wouldn't be as fun. He wanted to win without help of another quirk, unless it was Todoroki's. One villain has been captured, All Might announced as Hitoshi released his hold on Aoyama, giving a cheeky wave as he dove back out of the window he entered through, catching himself on the window below and entering the floor 4. There was no sound of fighting, meaning Todoroki was either still making his way up or avoiding Ashido completely, which wasn't very likely. Running quietly through the halls to find the bomb, he finally found the room, only to come face to face with Ashido. Would she be easier to crack? Aoyama left you alone to defend the bomb? Hitoshi began, but Ashido's expression was not amused. Without giving him another breath, acid was launched forward as he sprinted back, not wanting to be burned by the substance. Getting across to the bomb would be impossible against a quirk like that. What would Izuku do? No, that was obvious. Izuku would run through anyway, letting the acid eat away at him without any self-preservation. That move probably wouldn't go very well in a hero course. The temperature dropped as Todoroki stepped beside him. Hitoshi finally happy he was his partner. With a motion of his hand meaning to go ahead, Hitoshi used his scarf to lift him up the wall as Todoroki stepped forward, ice shooting out and covering Ashido's feet. Hey, she explained, that's so unfair. What's unfair? Hitoshi asked. That he can just be quiet and put the capture tape on yourself. Just like Aoyama, Ashido did as told as Todoroki walked over his ice, laying a flat hand against the bomb as he breathed out some frost. Both villains have been captured and the bomb has been secured. Heroes win! All Might boomed, Hitoshi smiling at himself under his mask. Aw, man, Ashido whined. Todoroki freed her from the ice. I thought maybe I had that one. She jogged past Todoroki and punched Hitoshi in the shoulder, playfully. Your quirk is so cool. I don't think I'll ever get over that. And Todoroki, how did you capture Ayama if you came from down there? I sent him up, because I didn't. Todoroki huffed, leaving the building. It took some time, but I got him to talk, Hitoshi said slyly as he removed his mask, letting it hang around his face as the two exited. Just said that Kaminari called his costume ugly and, yeah, Ashido groaned, that'll do it. While All Might praised Todoroki for his powerful quirk, Hitoshi couldn't help but grin at the thought of telling the others he won today, against strong quirks too. And Shinso. It was a good call to treat the scenario like real life. Hard work like that will really pay off in the future. Instead of thanking him profusely like most of the students did, Hitoshi just made a grunting sound and turned, finding an empty seat in the room and closing his eyes, letting his face bury into his capture weapon. Stupid All Might. At the end of the day, Hitoshi's friends waited for him, but stopped when he didn't follow. What's wrong? Ashido tilted her head to the side. You don't want to walk with us today? It's not that, Hitoshi mumbled as he looked at his watch. She better not. Hitoshi! May screeched as she ran over, slamming right into his back as she hung an arm around his shoulders. Long time no see. I saw you last night. Exactly. It's been so long. Kaminari smiled. Oh, Shinso, is this your girlfriend? Ew. The two of them responded at the same time, then giving each other offended looks. What? You wouldn't date me? Hitoshi scoffed. That hurts. You said the same thing about me, May argued back. And for your information, I'm too concerned about my babies. You have babies? The three other students said at once with widened eyes. What she calls her inventions, Shinso corrected. Anyway, this is May Hatsumi, support department. If you need any babies for your costume, come to me because I'm the best. Tone it down, Hitoshi groaned. And May, this is Sero, Ashido, and Kaminari. They're all in my class. Hey, she drawled in realization with a bright smile. You guys were the one who tried to share your points with Toshi, right? You know, when he saw that you guys did that, he actually started crying. Shut up, May. Kaminari pinched his bottom lip. You saw that, huh? Yes, on a disc thing. Hitoshi mumbled. He knows his face is red. He feels like he's standing directly under a blistering sun without any source of shade. Also, because May was snickering at him. Ah, that's a little embarrassing, the blonde whispered under his breath with a weak chuckle, rubbing the back of his neck, equally as red. Why is that embarrassing? Sero slapped his back. I thought it was really nice when you brought the idea up to Ashido and I. So it was your idea? Hitoshi asked. Kaminari squirmed under all the eyes. Yes, yep, because I literally would have died if you didn't help. I didn't think you understood what you actually did. Hitoshi nodded. I do. I also remember flipping off one of the cameras. You flipped off a bunch of pro heroes? Ashido gasped. And here I am. When I first met you, I thought you were some shy, quiet kid. How wrong was I? I was just angry, Hitoshi shrugged honestly. I know they're looking for the best of the best, but we're still kids. I won't let them treat us like some sort of soldier. Hitoshi's three classmates looked down at their shoes as if they were told something life-changing. May clapped her hands together. Well, Are we going or what? The group began walking to the train station. Mei, Ashido, and Kaminari carrying most of the conversation, and Satoshi and Sero preferred to observe. See you later, Ashido waved as she and Sero stepped onto the east train, Kaminari tripping over his feet as he stepped onto the north. They seem like fun, Mei finally smiled. I'm happy that you made friends. What about you? Oh, there are some really cool people in my class, and they never make fun of me. Actually, they like listening to my ideas. So, it's so strange. They walked back to the warehouse as Mei talked about her newest project. Apparently, she was really angry when she saw Yaoyorozu's costume design. She made several good points, and Hitoshi agreed. It's just not practical or safe, she exclaimed as they arrived at the warehouse. Hitoshi hummed in agreement as he knocked on the door. Izuku answered with a tired smile as he let them in. Dabi and Toga currently training in hand-to-hand combat. As Hitoshi and Mei spoke about their day, he made the decision to leave All Might out of it. Judging by Izuku's current state, that's not something he needs to hear right now. And I had to pair up with this one guy. Ugh, so rude. Izuku nodded. Who was it? Hitoshi rolled his eyes. None other than Todoroki. Toga punched Dabi square in the face, and the man fell back slowly, just like a tree that's been cut down with an axe. Damn! Mei breathed as the entire room was silent. Toga slapped both of her hands over her mouth with wide eyes. Dabi was flat on his back, as Izuku and Hitoshi could only stare in shock. He was knocked right out. Girl power! Mei shrieked, but Toga just shook her head. What the heck? As Izuku crawled over to make sure the man wasn't dead, Dabi's eyes slowly opened and he wiped some blood dripping from his split lip, sitting up in a dazed manner. Why didn't you dodge? That was literally all we were doing. Toga sobbed. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I didn't know I can punch that hard. Dabi waved a hand to cut her off and sucked his bleeding lip between his teeth, looking at the cut with his tongue. No, it was my fault. I got, distracted. Hitoshi watched as Izuku and Toga stared a knowing look, the blonde smiling. Let's take a break then. The greenette returned to his pile of blankets and let Hitoshi continue. Anyways, Todoroki, he tried to make me wait outside instead of letting me help. But I shut down that idea real quick. It was a stupid plan. Icing the whole building? Strangely enough, Dabi walked over and sat next to Izuku with earnest eyes, pulling his knees to his chest and hanging on to every word that left Hitoshi's lips. Then he used his eyes, and then Ashido was trapped. So we won. It was pretty cool using my quirk and getting compliments. Sounds like it was a good day. Izuku smiled. How's Shota doing? Hitoshi tried to avoid that man at all times, but homeroom was inevitable. He stared a lot. Fine, I guess. I like English with Mike the best, only because no one knows I'm fluent in English. He's also really nice, something that can't be said about Aizawa. You're fluent in English? Me too! Izuku exclaimed in excitement. Hitoshi nodded. Yep. Always thought it would be useful when I was planning of running away from foster care. Never did, but Kayabu's first language is English, so it turned out I learned it for a good reason. Izuku nodded. My dad worked in America, so that's when I started learning it, then continued after because I found it interesting. Same thing for French and Spanish. You speak 4 languages? Dabi asked with wide eyes, and Izuku nodded. Yep, but my Spanish isn't very good, if we're being honest. As Toga and Mei began throwing random phrases and words for Izuku to translate, Hitoshi started on his homework with a genuine smile. He was happy. Oh my god, I finally did it. This took a while. Like a whole fucking almost an hour to record this bitch. I really, really hate children. I hate them. Well, really, I hate noisy children. Because they're loud. And you probably will more likely hear it in this fucking video because they never shut up. And I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway. I tried to at least put it down to a minimum as I could, but I could only do but so much. And if I try messing with it in the audio to try to reduce the outside noises, it would just reduce my volume itself to fucking ridiculous. But I try my best. I really should have done this sooner, but better late than never, so yay. Okay, so if you want to see more of this, you know what to do.